base and the opportunities that are ahead of them. We're also joined by James Ashford today. Many of you will know James. I think it's no exaggeration to say he has burst onto the scene in the last 2 years. I hear people laughing and chuckling. That's all positive, I'm sure, James. But James is founder of Go Proposal, but also is a director of My Accountancy Place. So when we talk, or when James talks through all of the experiences and all of the recommendations and all of the good stuff, it's all based on things that he has learned and things he has done. It's not conceptual, it's actual facts, it's actually things that have happened. Okay, so what I want to do is just set the scene with a 30-second audio clip, okay? So hopefully you can hear us over the noise, but we're just going to play, or I'm just going to play an audio clip. So I just want you to listen to this for 30 seconds.
So how can I help you?
Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd.
Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around?
At 12 p.m.
We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15.
Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.?
Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for?
Just a women's haircut for now.
Okay, we have a 10 o'clock.
10 a.m. is fine.
Okay, what's her first name?
The first name is Lisa.
Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Great. Have a great day. Bye.
Who knows the relevance of that clip? It was AI. Yeah? So one side of that conversation was a bit of software, yeah? Complete AI. Who knows which bit of the conversation, which half of the conversation was the robot? The person booking the appointment. Yeah, so the person booking the appointment. This was first shown at the Google, it's a Google Duplex product that was shown in May last year at the Google annual conference, just right next door to Intuit's office in Mountain View. And it's their new AI assistant that they're going to now start rolling out. The concept that they see is that will be a natural language software robot that when you interact and when you call into customer service centers, it will have natural levels of conversation with you. And then as soon as it gets beyond that more complicated, can I book an appointment, can I get some information, that's when you'll be handed over to a human being. But that will triage at that level around automation and using software to have that conversation instead. A couple of years ago at QVC, I predicted that within 5 years, we're going to really struggle when we call a company to understand whether we're speaking to software or whether we're speaking to a human being. And we're beginning to see that level of disruption right now with what we're seeing in Google Duplex is a really good idea or a really good indication of that. The other indications that we're seeing is this use of chatbots. So we saw a voice chatbot within that scenario, but there's obviously various other chatbots that we see all the time. We see that Gartner are predicting that 85% of our interactions with businesses will be via chatbots by the year 2020. So this will be the default way that we start interacting with small businesses. But what are they good at? What are chatbots and this level of technology good at? They're great at sharing facts. Yeah, so any kind of sharing of knowledge and information, factual information, they're strong at. Client-led advice, they're great at client-led advice. So where I come to a chatbot asking for information and advice, they will respond very well, but they will not be proactive with their outreach. And then finally, they're quick. Yeah, you're not waiting in queues, you're not having to do anything like that. So if you as an advisor pride yourself on those three aspects, you're great at sharing facts, you're great at offering client-led advice, so someone coming to you asking for advice, and finally, you're quick, you're really responsive. I'm great, me, I always get back to people within 24 hours. If that's your mark of what good looks like, you need to revise that, okay? Because the technology is upping the game in terms of the level of the conversations that we're having all the time. And I just wanted to share a couple of innovations that we're working at within QuickBooks that start bringing this to life. So TurboTax is our personal tax product within the US, huge market share. A number of our 1099 submissions for personal tax are done via the software. But up until the middle of last year, it was it was a very transactional product. You bought the piece of software, and if you needed technical support, then you would phone up and get technical support. Last year we launched TurboTax Live, where we employ CPAs, so accountants in practice. These aren't Intuit members of staff, these are accountants in practice, that at any point they can have a FaceTime session with a pro advisor, with a chartered pro advisor within the US, all delivered via FaceTime, all delivered via screen share, and the person on the other end of the line can actually take over the other person's computer and actually start indicating what they should be doing and looking for anomalies within software. So we're starting to see this level of human interaction changing. Nothing too markedly changing. We're not talking about complete automation here, but we're beginning to see the developments of that within what we're doing. And then the second part, which actually is far more around our chatbot technology, is QB Assistant. So QB Assistant was launched 18 months ago, and that is our voice activated and also our written activated chatbot. So we had 2 million questions come into QB Assistant, and typically we have been these questions have been around historically what's happening. Tell me my biggest expenses. Tell me my margin that I made last month. We've now used the technology to go on a click around AI and machine learning to say, actually, now tell me where the projections are. Tell me what my business looks like in a few months' time. So we're now beginning to move that conversation on, and the advice that we give via clients, not just around getting data in and automation within there, but actually the advice that we're giving to clients as well. So just before I hand over to James, I'll just share something with you I think is really poignant and something that I talk about a lot with clients, and that's Amara's Law. And Amara's Law is we tend to overestimate the impact of technology in the short term and underestimate it in the long term. So we've been talking about this technology for ages. You look at other technologies such as mobile telephony, PCs, all of these kinds of things. The technology stayed in situ for a long, long time before there was a huge kind of hockey curve effect to its adoption. Before that was that exponential growth. And that is typically what Amara's Law says. It's something happens that changes very, very quickly. And that's what's happening now within this technology. It's actually been in existence for a long time, but with the likes of things like Amazon Alexa and this type of technology, it's now really, really beginning to accelerate. So we will see this disruption, I truly believe, in the next 2 to 3 years becoming very, very significant, but we have time. We have time to really, really begin to understand where we can make a difference. So with that in mind, I'll ask James to come onto the stage. I'd like to do that with a round of applause as well.
Just feel like you're cracking a beer open when you get this, doesn't it? Sorry. Hi everyone, thank you for coming to listen to our talk today. The plan is to make this really valuable for you, and that you can take something away from this and actually implement it into your firm and make a difference. As Alex said, if you're not actually going to take any action off the back of this, nothing changes. You come to events like this that feel really good, you have some good conversations, but for me it's all about actually making a difference in your firm when you get back. So I always call out to start with that I'm not an accountant. My background is I was a business owner myself, because I needed to have been made redundant twice in this year, and we had our first child along the way, and I had to set up my first business. I looked at what I was good at, which was marketing. I set up my first marketing business, and then very quickly realised that I was really good at marketing, but an amateur business owner, and I had to very quickly bridge that gap. And I think that's very similar to a lot of accountants when they set up their own business. They're fantastic at what they do, but then all of a sudden you've got to learn marketing, you've got to learn recruitment, you've got to learn all these other things that don't necessarily come naturally. So I got a copy of E-Myth Revisited, like frantically read it. I've still got a copy of the copy I've got at home with all the notes in it, and learned that business. And it was through that marketing business that I was very fortunate to meet lots of other companies and work with those and really get under the skin of those to help to challenge them. And because of my creative background, was able to kind of look at these business, challenge them on the processes that they had within there, and make some quite big improvements, because very often we can get stuck doing things, and the reason why we do them is because we've always done them that way. But that doesn't mean to say that we should continue to do them that way. I then met Paul Barnes, who's just there. Give us a wave, Paul. From My Accountancy Place. Paul's the owner of My Accountancy Place, and we met at an event, and we did a lot of work together on MAP, as we now call it. and have evolved the systems and really changed the way that we did a lot of things there. And through that, we developed a product called Go Proposal as well, which enabled us to price our services more profitably and to sell those services more confidently as well. And now we've got thousands of accountants and bookkeepers around the world using that product, and we've got a few of them in this room as well. Hi guys. Just to give you kind of a bit of a paint the picture of MAP, and whenever I stand here and talk about what we're doing in our firm, I never say that we're perfect or that we've figured it all out, because we absolutely haven't. We're just work in progress. We've got a few things right, and we're always willing to share those, but we also have challenges as well, just like everyone else in here. And I have lots of conversations with accountants, and I think one of the things I can just share with you is never compare yourself to anyone else. You're only in competition with one firm, which was your firm a month ago. We've always got to be making improvements, but I think sometimes to look at what other firms are doing can be quite dangerous. But just to paint a bit of a picture, we have a specific niche of digital creative agencies. We're based in Manchester, we've got 20 staff, 145 clients. We've got average fees of £450 a month. That includes our historical clients. If I look at what we've signed up recently, it's about £850 a month over the last quarter, something like that. Our clients, we have clients paying us significantly more as well. Over the last 12 months, we've grown our revenue by 40%. Half of that growth has come from existing clients and figuring out ways to serve those clients to higher levels, and half of that growth has come from new clients as well. But in that time, we've also grown our profit by 284%. And you know, I hear a lot of people saying that advisory is the future, and advisory is wonderful, and it's a great opportunity for us to serve our clients to even higher levels and to generate more income for ourselves as well. But compliance work is our most profitable work. And I think it's important to know that, because we're profitable in the way that we price for it, and we're efficient in the way that we deliver it. And if you can't make money out of compliance, you've got no chance of making money out of advisory. So you might as well make money out of compliance and make money out of advisory. But it's just to make sure that we're aware of that as well. I'm also the author of Selling to Serve, where in the book I map out our entire sales process that we have at MAP. And if you go over to the Go Proposal stand, we've got a few rare unsigned copies that we've managed to dig out. We've got on the stand there, so you can go, and you're very welcome to grab some of those as well. So what I want you to do is, I really want you to get the most out of this. And I always try and get you to tune into the gold in two ways. One is look for the gold in what we're sharing. Just find the one nugget, the one thing that you can take back and you can think make a difference. You don't need 10 things or 20 things. You just need one thing. But also, when I say look for the gold, I want you to try and find the gold in what you've already got, in the client base that you already have. Very often, we're always looking outside of our client base and thinking the grass is always greener, there's better clients over there, where in actual fact, what I want to prove to you today is that there's tremendous value in the client base that you've got. And you know what? This is a real challenge for accountants, because by your nature and your training, you are trained to look for what's wrong. You're trained to find what's wrong. That makes you a great accountant, right? And you always want everything to be perfect, which if you're looking through my balance sheet, I need you to find what's wrong, and I need you to make everything perfect. The challenge is then when you sometimes take that thinking and apply it to your existing client base or to a new system and process, that sometimes that can hold you back. And so we have to really force ourselves to look for the gold and find the good in what we have as well. The second thing is, I always make out that we need to be aware of the voice. You've all got two voices in your head right now. You've got my voice that you can hear at, how many words a minute? I don't know how many words I can, how many words a minute? I'm not sure, however many words a minute I can talk. You can hear me, but you've got a voice in your head that's talking to you about 4 times the number of words that I'm talking to you at. And it's the voice in your head that's talking to you about the things that I'm talking to you about. So you sat there going, yeah, that makes sense. And the voice in your head's going, no way, we are never going to do that. You should have gone to Will Farnell's talk. What are we doing sat on the floor in here? You know, it's the voice in your head that's trying to undermine everything. And we have to challenge that voice. I'm probably not going to share anything with you today that you don't already know. And what the voice is going to try and do is get you off the hook. So I'm going to share something with you, and the voice is going to go, yeah, we already know that, we already know that. What you've got to do is challenge the voice and say, just because we know it, are we doing anything with it? And then if the voice says, yeah, we're doing something with it, you've got to say, could we be doing more with that as well? So always push back at the voice. One of the things the voice will try and get you to do is say, that's outside of my comfort zone, which I always think is a really interesting thing. I don't want to do that, it's outside my comfort zone. But when we start having a conversation, I realise that you're not actually comfortable with where you are. So that is not outside your comfort zone, that's in your comfort zone. It's just outside of your familiar zone. So don't buy into that one, that it's outside your comfort zone, because many of us aren't comfortable with where we are. And the final thing that we've got to be aware of is the story. No strategy that you learn here over today or what you learned yesterday is going to move anything forward if it's not aligned with your mindset. So the strategy that you learned that's going to make a difference in your business has to be aligned with your mindset, and it might be that your mindset aligns with it, but you may have another partner in your firm whose mindset doesn't quite align with it. The partner that didn't bother turning up today, that person. So we need to make sure that everyone in the business is aligned with this as well. So I'm just giving you an example of that. Hands up, it's the only bit of audience participation, so don't be groaning. Right, okay, just put your hand up when I tell you to. Hands up if you're committed to giving value to your clients. Good, everyone's hand up, thank you. Keep it up, keep it up. Keep your hand up if you're committed to giving the maximum value to your clients. Maximize that value, cool. Keep your hand up if you are committed to developing your sales skills and becoming a great salesperson. Some drop, you can put your hands down if you want at that point. We're in a safe place, it's fine. Keep your hands up if you're committed to improving your sales ability across all members of your team as well. That you think that's an important thing to do. A few more hands drop there. Okay, thank you for that, cool. The reason I just want to share with that is everyone's committed to giving value to their clients, but only half of you are committed to developing your sales skill. And the reason for that is a mindset issue. Because ultimately, the only way you can give more value to your clients is if you're prepared to make a sale. Because the sale is the exchange of value. It's where we say, this is the value we're going to give to you in return for what you're going to pay us. The only way that value can happen is if we're prepared to make that sale. And one of the things that we agreed very early on when I got involved with Matt was that selling is our ethical obligation. If we're not prepared to sell to our clients, we're not being fair to them. And what we decided to do was to create a sales culture throughout our accounting firm and have everyone to be able to have that conversation with a client. So one of our youngest members of staff is Sam. He's 17 years old, he's a bookkeeper, and he can have that conversation with a client where he's saying, James, I'm feeling really bad, I've been pestering you all week for this information, you're just not getting back to me. Did you know we have another level of service where we can actually log into your emails, log into your Amazon and everything, and pull all these invoices out for you? It's an extra 40 quid a month. Do you want me to send you a proposal through and show you what that looks like? So everyone's able to have that conversation because we trained in consultative selling, so we can make sure we're serving our clients to the best of our ability. Last year, I was invited to QB Connect in San Jose. It was a great event. Got to see QuickBooks, truly an incredible company. I'm not going to bang on about them now because I'm sure you've heard many good things about them, but just the ethics that sit behind the company and the values that are through them, you just really got a sense of that when you're there. I don't know if you people here came with me there, but just a great experience. And I always pronounce his name wrong, Sasan Gadazi. Sasan Gadazi said, we're in the people business. And people kind of make notes, we're in the people business. And people kind of like that, and it's kind of cool, and high-fiving it and stuff, and cheering it and things like that. But I don't know if people really got under the skin of what that meant, and it meant something very different to me. So this is my family, and I appreciate I'm punching way above my weight. You know what you're thinking, it's not beautiful family. Okay. And that business I talked about, the marketing business that I set up, was a good business. We had some good staff. We have made some real impact with our clients, but the business ultimately failed. And the reason why it failed is because we didn't have the full finance function in place. I didn't have the terminology for that at the time, but I know looking back that we didn't have the full finance function in the business. And we made a series of mistakes, all small, all forgivable. We allowed some clients to pay us over 12 months rather than paying us up front for projects because that seemed to kind of work, which is ridiculous because now I need to fund that gap. Megan, my bookkeeper, she paid my PayYE. The PayYE of the business is in my personal PayYE account. And then I got a letter saying, great news, you got some tax back. Here's £5,000. Woo, we can go on holiday. Went on holiday, came back from holiday. Hey, you owe us £5,000. You're like, oh shit. So we had to pay that back. So all these little things, we forgot to charge a client for web hosting. I'm like, Megan, don't seem to have charged a client for web hosting for the last 12 months, for the last 3 years. In fact, we've not charged any client for web hosting for the last 3 years. And I was asking my accountant for management accounts, and he said it was overkill for a business of my size. So the data I had was 18 months old. And I didn't realize anything was wrong until this consultant I got in kind of took the blindfold off me, and I realized I was on the edge of a cliff. And we're trying to backpedal as fast as we could, and we just couldn't pull out of it fast enough. And ultimately that business failed because we never had that finance function. So I know what it's like to sit with my staff on a Monday morning and say, I'm sorry, I've messed up. You can go home, you no longer have a job. Or to say to Becky, my wife, I know you've been staring at the little apple on the back of my computer every evening for the last 3 years while I've been trying to grow this, but the business has gone and we're gonna have to remortgage. And I also know what it's like to start again and to build that back up and to go back to all my suppliers from my previous business and pay them all back the money that I've generated in my new business to level the playing field again. And so when we talk about the fact that we're in the people business, very often we don't understand how many people's lives what you do impacts, which is real people, mums and dads, with dreams and hopes and fears of just trying to improve their life, just like we're all trying to improve our life. And sometimes we need to make ourselves aware of that. And one of the things we're very clear on is maximizing the value that we give to your clients and getting return as well. It's important to recognize that you're people too. And you're really important in this. You've got to be getting out of your business what you want to get out of it as well. And like I say, very often we don't realize the number of people's lives we touch. So for example, if you have 500 clients in your business and each of them has got one partner and they've got 2 kids and they've got 10 staff in their businesses and each of their staff have a partner and 2 children and each of those clients have got 100 customers and 10 suppliers, 77,000 people that through your accounting firm you're actually impacting either directly or indirectly. And so sometimes it frustrates me when I hear accounting firms delaying decisions to take a new piece of technology and to implement it, and will delay it another month or will delay it another 2 months and not realize you've not just lost a month, you've lost 500 months of potential impact across 77,000 people. And so it's really important that we don't become too focused on our own business and we actually really start to understand what sits behind this. And this, for me, starts to become really exciting when we really start to get a grasp of that. And what Alex was talking about before was about all this wonderful technology that comes in, and some of it we feel threatened by. A robot's going to steal our jobs. If you act like robots, robots will steal your jobs. And when we see this technology, what we've got to do is ask ourselves, how can we delegate this task to technology so that we can elevate ourselves into delivering more value to our clients? And it's the second part that very often we don't ask that part of the question. We just ask, how can we delegate that to technology so we can get more clients through or trying to generate more income, rather than just stopping and thinking, either how can we serve this client to a much higher level, or how can I play golf more or go shooting more, Logan? Or how can I spend more time with my family and elevate my life to a better level as well? But really, that's the key part of the question that we need to ask when we see this technology. So we never become frightened of any technology, of any innovation that we see. We always really welcome it because we're asking that next level of question. The other shift that we have to make as well is we have to fall in love with our clients more than we love our own products and services. Very often we can become too inward looking and focus on the service that we provide. And I can just see that when I go onto people's websites and you talk about all the services that you provide. You might need to hold the person's hands next to us as I say this one, but nobody cares about you and nobody wants what you've got. They only care about themselves and how they benefit from that. And that's why it's really important to have this higher level of conversation. When I first met MAP and I was talking to our accountants there, and we brought in other business owners as well, which is a really great exercise to do, guys, to bring business owners in, clients, to speak to your team and to talk about it from their side of things as well. And we brought a great business owner in called Paul Goff, and he says, my accountant has no idea that I'm wanting to move to America, that I want to move my family out to America. And they're talking to me about balance sheets and P&L and all this stuff. I don't care about any of that. All I care about is when can I make that decision to move out to the States. And if my accountant is not having that conversation with me, you need to understand that I don't care about them and I will drop them as soon as I find an accountancy firm that is starting to have that better level of conversation with me. And sometimes we can think that our clients are our friends and that they're going to stay with us forever. But if someone starts to have better conversations, they will go because we don't have that emotional connection with them. And the other thing that I communicated to the team, because obviously I'm a client of Matt as well, and I always point this out, I get 0 discounts. I always look to call things when it's like a family and friends thing somewhere, but seemingly not. That's fine. But the conversation is I explain, I don't want bookkeeping services. I don't care about the bookkeeping services. I want to pick Leo and Scarlett up from school every day. That's what I care about. You doing the bookkeeping for me enables me to do that. But if we're not having that level of conversation, then I'm not seeing the real value in what you're providing me with. You need to understand that my wife wanted to leave work this year because she had a very challenging job, and that we wanted to move house to be closer to our children's school and they could be closer to their friends. If at the start of the management report that you're sending me, you're not reminding me of what my personal goals are, if when I pick the phone up to you, you're not saying to me, have you got an offering on the house yet? How close are you to moving house? You need to understand that we're not gonna connect. And the really exciting thing about this is not only do you, through these conversations, start to unlock great value for your clients, but you start to unlock great value for you, and not just monetary value as well. It's just a far more rewarding, valuable way of approaching your clients. So in our firm, we have one of our values is person first, client second. And what we mean by this is about putting the person first before they become a client. Very often, we have people come to us telling us what services they want, and we meet them as a client, and we start to have a client-led conversation, i.e. the client dictates the conversation. What we want to do is take control of that conversation and start to have a personal conversation with that client. So I first learned this from the same business owner that came to talk to us, actually, Paul Goff, who's got a physiotherapy business in Hartlepool. Wonderful business. He now trains PTs in the States in how to replicate what he's done here in the UK. And he just had this brilliant philosophy, which was person first, patient second. So I stole it from. Most of my good stuff I will have stolen. I hold my hand up. Not like that. I will have stolen that. So person first, patient second. Every other physio in the country, if you ring them up with a bad back, you ring them up and say, I've got a bad back. And what they'll do is they'll start talking to you about your bad back. So how long have you had the back pain? Whereabouts is it? Does hot make it worse? Does cold make it worse? What caused it? They will focus on the pain that you're going to them with. What he did was he flipped the conversation. So when people, and he trained his entire team in how to do this. So when people rang up and said, hi, I've got a bad back, can you help? So we'll talk about your bad back in a second. But first of all, the fact that you now have this bad back, what is that preventing you from being able to do that you could do before? Well, I used to play with my kids in the park, I used to do tango dancing, I used to do gardening. Okay, is there anything else that you did that this is now preventing you from doing? So they would have a very different level of conversation. Okay, so you're looking to, let's just go back over that, you're looking to tango dance again, you're looking to get back to your garden and play with your kids in the park. Okay, cool. Now let's talk about your back. So they're taking control of the conversation, they're having a far higher level conversation and understanding what the real issue is. And very often, people don't know what the problem is in the first place. It's not the bad back that's the problem, it's the other frustrations that's causing them the problem. But what we need to be able to do is have a strategic conversation to unlock that value. Otherwise, the client will be dictating the conversation. You will treat the problem that the client presents you with, but it's not the real problem. And then you're 6 months, 12 months down the line, you're like, what's going on here? Because the client's not valuing what we're doing, even though we're solving the thing that they came to us with. And it's because although they came to us with that problem, that was the surface problem. There was an underlying problem beneath that we need to get into and we needed to unlock. Now, this isn't easy. This isn't a magic wand. You can't just, you're not just going to go back from this today and say to your team, right team, a brilliant idea. We're all going to be starting having these different level of conversations now because it's just going to blow their mind. This is a hard piece of work. This is our team. And some people are more receptive to it than others. But all of them, it's taken us training to do diligently. One of the first things we had to do, we lost a client. They were a new client that signed up, good client, high fees. I dread to think what the fees were, but I know they were in the high thousands per month. But anyway, we made big promises to them. They walked in and they sat there and no one looked up from the desk and spoke to them and said hello. And they left on the strength of that. So the next day I went into the office and said, can we all just put our laptops down, please? Thank you. This is not a sales training conversation. This is a being a human being on planet Earth conversation, okay? When someone walks in that door, we are gonna say hello to them. We are going to look up, we are going to smile, we are going to go and talk to them about what's been going on. And then what we started to do on the strength of that is have a roll call in the morning. Who's going to turn up? We created a welcome sign that welcomes them and greets them. We will share interesting facts about that client before they arrive, so everyone's got at least a talking point so they can go and chat to them. And now it's quite comical, especially if myself or Paul are in the room, that everyone, hi everybody, bye, every time somebody walks in. My point is that's a small thing. We're not even getting into strategic conversations at this point, but there is a retraining to do, a reconnection that we need to get our team to have with our clients. And it's not easy, and not everyone will survive the journey. Not everyone's going to make the journey, perhaps, that you started this journey with. That's what we found. But the people that we've got on board now have been brilliant. And what we've had to do around this is actually to create a framework for us to be able to have this better level of conversation. And so you should have all had a copy of this. We printed it out. So we developed this, and we called it the GLOSS method. So what the GLOSS method is with our clients, put very simply, it's where are you trying to get to? What are your goals? What are your personal goals? Then what are your business goals? That's the G, goals. L is location. Where are you now? Let me understand the challenges in your business. And we've built service offerings around understanding where our clients are. What is their team that they've got in place? What are the systems that they have in place around the flow of money through their business? We've built some really nice services and products around that. Really understanding, getting under the bonnet of where they are now. Then the next thing is, what are the obstacles that are in the way? So this is where you want to get to. This is truly where you are now. And these are the different challenges in the way that's preventing you from getting there. The next one is speed. How fast do you want to go? So how fast do you want to get to your goals? Are you happy to do a lot of the work yourself? In which case, we can train you in how to do it. So if you've got a lot of time and not a lot of money, that's fine, you can do that. Or do you want us to take all of this work from you to free you up to focus on your core activities in your business? And then this, a combination of these questions will then unlock what the solution is that we present to our clients. And when we present a solution to our clients in terms of how we can help them, we're not doing this gold, silver, bronze, you choose what package you want, because that's not fair. That happens when you've not been through a deep enough consultative sales process to really unlock each of these stages, at which case you have to pass responsibility over to the client and say, you choose, because the reality is that we don't know. When we've got to the end of this process, there should only be one solution that's right for that client, and as the authority, we present that one solution to the client. Doesn't mean they have to go with it, they may want to take things out or add things in, that's fine, but we will present that solution to the client. And Paul has this great question, which is why he's never afraid to do this, which is, the reason why I love sales is I would only ever present what I would want if I was them, knowing what I know. So he's coming from a very authentic place and just offering the most value he possibly can. But we're always happy to meet the client where they are, which is one of our other phrases, meet them where they are. I'm just going to delve into this first part, which is the goals part, because this is where we start to unlock where they're trying to get to. So what are their personal goals first? What are their business goals second? And think in terms of 90 days, 1 year, and 3 years, and ultimately. So that's how we frame up the conversation. And here are some questions that we use to inspire that, because again, you ask your clients what the personal goals are, they may not know that. We don't need to know the answers, but we need to have the questions to be able to unlock those answers from our clients. So some of the questions we might ask is, what would a perfect week look like for you? What are some of the immediate wins that would help you to get closer towards achieving those personal goals? What would make this a great year for you and your family? And these are genuinely questions that we ask our clients. These are questions that Paul asks me as a client. When we've done our budget this year for Go Proposal as a client, it started with this, with what are my family goals? What are we trying to achieve personally? Because ultimately, the business is there to give me the life that I want. Just like your business is there to serve you and to give you the lives that you want. The only thing that's unique about your accountancy firm is it's probably the only business in the world that's designed to give you the life that you want. And so that's why we have to start with this level of questions. And as a client on the receiving end of it, I can't tell you how valuable this has been, and to bring my family on the journey as well. And then to put a clear budget in place that says, if we hit these targets, that is going to give me these goals this year. And that last year we went to Lapland for Christmas, And it was great that I was able to go back to Paul because we had budgets and forecasts in place and say, can we afford to take my family? Can I take my family away? And Paul's like, if you're not doing that, what are we doing this for? What is it all about? And went away for Christmas. It was the most incredible experience. And that's why we do what we do. And guys, that is the great gift that you're able to give to your clients, that you're able to genuinely impact people's lives when you do this and see what they're actually doing. So really valuable and really rewarding for everybody. So this is a framework that you can take back. If you go onto our website and go to our resources page, goproposal.com, I've got an hour training video on there. You don't have to give your email address or anything, just go and grab the video, guys, and it just takes you through how to use this. You can share that with your team. There's also a really interesting webinar that Paul and I have done there, but some useful resources on there for you to go and get and start to take this gloss method. I'd just like to invite PJ up now to talk. Have you been mic'd up, PJ? Have you got a mic? No. Can we get? No, we've got a mic. We're roving. Can we have that, please? So I just wanted to invite PJ up because, again, I just want to challenge your mindset because you might be thinking, well, that's okay for you guys up there in Manchester or with your specific niche of digital creative agencies or with you this or with you that. But what I want to do is just kind of present somebody with a different firm and how you've taken some of these principles on board. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. So, PJ, so can you just describe your firm to us, just give us a sense of that and what the challenges were that you faced before you started having these type of conversations with your clients?
Okay, so my business has been running for 7 years. We've just finished our 7th year. I've been in accountancy for 20 years. And the business is home-based. I've now got 2 part-time members of staff and a subby that works with us from Scotland. We literally are, this is my sofa and that is my admin's desk. That's how impersonal it is in our own space. But when I started out, clients would walk through the door. They would tell me, most likely, that I do everything myself. All I need you to do is lift my figures and do the year-end accounts. I haven't lifted figures and done year-end accounts in 20 years, but that's what I quoted for because that's what I thought they wanted. That meant that I was underquoting everybody. We signed 98% of the people that we saw, and I ended up being underpaid, undervalued. I'm working 53 hours a week, 48 weeks a year. I just became completely overwhelmed. And because we had so many low-paying clients, I started to feel the service was being watered down, and then I started to devalue myself. It got to the point where I just became so frustrated that at the middle of last year, I considered just scrapping the client base and starting again.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that, PJ. And I'm sure we've all kind of felt different levels of that at different times. It's great that you're able to share that with us. Thank you. And then we had a different conversation and we showed you how to have a better level of conversation with your clients. And obviously because of the challenges that PJ faced, you were very motivated to go have these conversations. And you actually shared, I know we've got a few GoPros members in here, so you shared the conversation that you were having at the time. And so you then went back and spoke to one of your clients using the gloss method framework, and this was in 3 days. So from being introduced to it to 3 days later going and speaking to a client. Can you just describe what that conversation was like? What was different about that conversation?
So we started off, so we had this client and he's paying us £200 a month. He gets lots of payroll and then just year end. And he rings me and he's completely annoyed because he's just gone through his 3rd bookkeeper in a year. And for the first time ever, I asked him, would it be okay for me to come out, understand what your concerns and frustrations are, and for me to do a quotation for you? So we have the meeting, I'm listening to all his concerns. We've invested in Go Proposal, so we know what we can offer and we know what the value of that is, and so I'm quoting correctly. And then I listen to him and I give him solutions that I would want if I was him, but I'm quoting for it correctly. And by the time I finish the quotation, I've got all these solutions and he's happy with the solutions, but the quotation has gone from £200 a month to £2,000 a month. At that point, I just think he's going to ask for a report and that'll be that. And instead he asks me, why did you never bring these solutions to me before? and where do you get the confidence to pitch this to me now? And I was just completely honest with him. I told him that we'd invested in this great pricing tool, and we wanted to work with clients, helping them throughout the whole year and not just be a human calculator at the end of the year. So at that point I'm thinking he's going to say, okay, give me the report and let me think about it, and he just said, where do I sign?
Yeah, it's amazing that value that was in there. And for me, the place that the value comes from is two things. One is having that framework to be able to have that level of conversation, and then it's through you having the confidence to go and sit with the client and have that conversation with them, which I appreciate must be daunting. And so you've had that win, which is brilliant. So how do things look now? You look back, you've had this conversation, how do things look moving forward, knowing that you can kind of unlock this type of value with your client base?
The first thing I've realised is it's not about the client undervaluing what you do, it's you not explaining to them what it is that you do and not explaining to them what more you can do. And we don't state the value ourselves, we just give it all away for free. And the other thing is, for me, it's a slow process because it's a good 2 hours per client to have the conversation with them. But for me, I've realised just how much more I can earn and how much more value I can put on the client by explaining to them what we actually do for them and what more we can do rather than giving it all away for free. That means I'm earning more money, they're getting better value, I don't have to work 53 hours a week, 48 weeks a year, and now I can see in the future that I'll be proud of my business. By March 2020, we'll only be working with clients that value what we do and understand what we do. And the best thing of all, my favourite thing, is on a Sunday when my husband asks me, can we go for a coffee? I can say yes instead of I have to work.
That's brilliant. Thank you, PJ. Thank you for sharing. I'm just going to pick up on keep it there. It's not a quick win, this. It's not a magic wand, and you're not, I mean, that's kind of an extreme example of unlocking that level of value, but it's just to prove that level of value is there. And there's no quick win to this. That's a 2-hour conversation that PJ's talking about having with the client, and I believe that is the level of conversation we need to be having. We can't just go back to our clients and just wave a magic wand and it just kind of unlocks it. We have to be having these deeper conversations, and not every client's going to want that, and you may not, all your clients may not come along that journey with you, but the clients that do come along that journey with you, you'll have much more fulfilling, meaningful relationships with them, where you're all getting much more value out of it. So we are in the people business. The people, our clients, our team, yourselves, and I think it's really important to keep that at the front of our mind and with all of our conversations, and like I say, we'll start to have much more rewarding business as a result of it. I'm not sure how much time we have. What time is it, Alex?
It's 13 minutes left.
Okay, that's cool. So I just want to close, just a few minutes then we just need to close. But what I wanted to do is just make sure that we've got enough time here for us to be able to have some questions, and you can make the questions as difficult as you want. I've got people around me who are cleverer than me that I can pass you to anyway if I can't deal with them. But what would you like to ask? You must have some burning questions. Is that a scratch, or is that a hand putting up for a question? Yeah, if you scratch anything above your neck, I will assume it's a question.
What's the best way of balancing the automated reminders so that you are seen to be connecting with the client and reminding them when things are due, and then having that personal reminder of actually being picking up the phone or writing an email themselves to say, by the way, do you remember that this is due? Is there any questions? Because obviously when you're balancing a large number of clients, you don't have time to sort of sit there and do it for everybody, but then you don't want everything to be automated. Is there a balance? Is there a good way of doing it?
Yeah, that's a great question. What's your name, sorry?
Holly.
Holly, hey Holly. It's a great question. I'm going to answer it, but I'm just going to answer another question that's behind that gets us to that point in the first place.
Sorry, would you mind repeating the question before you answer?
Sorry, yeah. So what Holly was saying was, is there a balance between having a level of automation of reminding clients they need to do certain things and bringing technology in to do that, versus us sending an email to them or having a personal conversation or reminding them that they need to do something? What's the balance to strike to be able to be developing that relationship but also working efficiently as well? Have I understood your question correctly? Yeah, that's good. The the way the problem actually starts is normally with the client being in control of when they're going to give you the information and what format they're going to give you the information in. And what we actually need to do is we need to be in control of that. And so again, that actually starts with us being in control of the conversation in the first place. If the client comes to us and it's a client-led conversation, these are my problems, this is how I want you to fix them, this is how I want you to run my payroll, this is how I'm going to give you my information, etc. The client is in charge of the process from the start, and that then ends up with us dealing with different clients in different ways, and so we end up having hundreds of different processes, so we can never be efficient, and that's kind of gets us into the problem in the first place, right? So that's why we need to take control. We're the authority, we're the experts, so we're going to take control of the conversation to understand the value that we can give to the client, and then when we provide the service to the client, we're going to be in control of that. You will be using this technology, you will give us this information by this date, you will give it us in this format, and these are the consequences of what will happen if you don't. And that might seem really daunting, but all I can assure you is, from a client's point of view, how reassuring that is. The analogy I always give is if you were going in for surgery and the surgeon says, turn up when you want, you want a Mackie D's on the way, it's cool man, just rock up whenever you like. You're not going to go to that surgeon. You want the surgeon that says, you will turn up at this time, you will not eat for 24 hours before, you will wear these type of clothes, etc., etc. You want the person in control. So we have to be in control of that conversation, and that can help to alleviate some of those problems. In our firm, we have automation, so I think when we send in, so we train our clients to become good clients. The place that we take control of that is at the start, like I said, with the way that we price. For each, let's say something like, if I take something specific like VAT, where I'm looking forward just to make sure I'm getting nods. For, let's say like VAT returns, they will get 3 automated reminders, and then we'll pick up the phone. So another one of our values is phone first, email second. Sometimes see some of our staff, they'll be like, oh, I'm having this real challenge with this client, what's the issue? Look at this email thread. And it's like, what on earth is this email thread? Just pick up the phone and tell the client what you want. Just have a quick, a 2-minute conversation could solve this problem where you've been going backwards and forwards for a week with emails. And so we have that, we have the automation that goes out to start with, and then we have a real person pick up the phone and talk to the client. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to pester them. But we're going to take control of that process and say, right, this is what we need when we need it, and if we don't get it by this date, this is what's going to happen. So I need to reconcile these items, I need these invoices and these receipts from you so we can claim your VAT back. If I've not had them by 5 p.m. tomorrow, you're not going to be able to claim the VAT on them. I'm not going to hold them for next week, and we'll have another conversation next week. It's 5 o'clock on Friday that we're going to move on from them, and we'll have another conversation next week. So it's again about us being in control of that process. Does that help? But sometimes I think that very often we're scared of just picking up the phone, and we probably constantly still saying that to our team. Just pick up the phone. A 1-minute conversation could solve this, you know. Thank you, Holly. Next question?
Just whilst we're waiting for the next question, just to add to that is, Holly's question was a really interesting one, and we often think automation means we're not personalising our service. The amount of times I'll speak to firms with that type of approach or suggesting that kind of approach around chasing emails, but they say, no, that's not what we offer. We're far more personal with the way that we do it. So my next question is, so how do you do that right now? Well, we pick up the phone and ask them for that information. And my question is always, how is that more personal? If you're only asking for factual information, why would you not do that via an email? Why would you not do through that process? That's exactly what Amazon would do in terms of their approach, which in my opinion is one of the companies that offers the best levels of service. So don't see automation as a way of lacking personalisation. It just means that you can have more valuable conversations when you do pick up the phone and actually speak to someone.
And again, using that framework to unlock the value, Holly. So like I said earlier, you may ring the client up and say, look, I'm really feeling uncomfortable constantly pestering you for this. Did you know that we can actually just do all this for you and take this away from you? Do you want me to show you what that would look like? Do you want to have a conversation about that? So it's again using that the gloss framework to say, what are the obstacles? Why are we even having to have this conversation in the first place? What's the problem? Because there may be some value that we can unlock for you there. Speaking to a guy who came to speak to us earlier, and sometimes we're just afraid to have this conversation with our clients, and we're scared. And sometimes what we'll do is we're offering value at this level, and we think, oh, I'll just offer them value at this level. And we then go in and offer what they really need, which is value at this level. And so a guy came up and spoke to us earlier, and he said he was having a challenge with a client because they wanted some better metrics in their business, better data coming out of what they had. And so he said, I thought about offering a service where I could go and show them how that would look, or a package to do that. And he kind of tentatively went in at something that was like maybe a grand to go and do this, and they never went with it. And what he was really annoyed about was that 3 months later they came back and said, oh, we've solved this now, we've gone and paid 10 grand with this coach to have it done. He's like, I could have done that. And it's like, yeah, you could have done that if you'd had the conversation with them that unlocked that value. And rather than bring your thinking to the process, which is, can they afford it? Would it, I don't want to take this money from them. It's to remove that out of the way, and to be really fair to that client and say, let's really unlock what the problem is here, and let me present to you this solution. They don't have to go with it. They can say, well, that's great, we'll do it in 12 months' time or 2 years' time, but can we at least go here for now? But we've got to be having those conversations with our clients. Yes?
I've got a question for PJ.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Did you end up losing many clients since starting this process?
Yes.
Sorry, did everyone get the question? Did you end up losing many clients as part of this process?
So, because it takes so long to do, we haven't done loads. Of the ones we've done, I've had one say that he doesn't understand the new price, and so to him, I just told him that he needed to go away and understand what it is that he needs, and he's more than welcome to come back. The door's always open. But I'm a QuickBooks baby. I've been QuickBooks since before I could walk. So we've been moving everybody over to QuickBooks, so we've been threatened by clients long before we started doing this anyway.
QuickBooks before we can walk. There we go.
We've got someone else that went through this process, a guy in Ireland that went through the same process, and he went through having these conversations with his clients, and he did it fairly quickly. And throughout that period of time, he lost 17% of his clients, and one of them was his cousin. So he was just so focused on what he was going to do, and I think something had happened in person. I think maybe he'd been ill or something that had just made him rethink, why am I doing what I'm doing? What am I working so hard for? What do I want to achieve from this? That changing, just like you had that kind of that change in your thinking that made you want to break that breakthrough. Making a breakthrough in your accounting firm is instant. Breakthroughs are instant things. Preparing to make the breakthrough, or psyching yourself up, or getting the motivation is the thing that takes the time, but breakthroughs are actually instant. So he lost 17% of his clients, but during that same period increased his revenue by 24% and stopped working Fridays, and was able to recruit a new member of staff. But he became clear on why he was doing it. And if I can just kind of round this off with my prop. I was going to have a slide, but QuickBooks are like really strict. Slides have to go to America and get approved and come back. And they're like, the slide deck is locked. No more slides in there. I'm like, yeah, that's fine, but I've got props. So I'll just do what I want. So I always think it's interesting when you're on a plane. It says if the oxygen masks drop, make sure that you put your own mask on first before helping others. I went to Australia last year, and my little boy Leo was sat next to me, and they announced that, and he tapped me and went, Daddy, if they do drop, will you just put mine on first? That's fine, I will get yours, that's fine. But the reason why we do that is that if I don't survive, I have got no chance of helping my children. And it's not selfish to get this on me first, because that gives me the best chance to help as many other people. I'm fortunate to get to speak to so many accountancy firms, accountants and bookkeeping. I can see a lot of them in here. And I know how generous you guys are, genuinely wanting to help people, genuinely wanting to give value. You do an incredible thing for your clients. But what you've got to do is you've got to get your mask on first. You've got to look after yourself first. And it's not a selfish thing to do, it's the most selfless thing you can do for your clients. Because if you can become the most profitable you can be and generate the most income you can for you and bring your value in first, then you're in a better position to be able to help your clients to do the same. So you've got to get out of your accountancy business what you want to get out of it and make sure that you're clear on it. So the thing that if I can give you one action to take away from this, will be to take the gloss method and do it for yourself first. What's a perfect week look like for you? What would make this year an incredible year for you? And get clear on that and get focused on that first, because by giving you everything that you want, that's how you'll be able to give your clients everything that they want as well. Thank you, guys.
So before you just a couple of things, and then you can stand up. There might be some sore backs in amongst the room for those that didn't get a chair. I really want you to rate the session. If you can get your phone out right now, it takes you 30 seconds to just